What's up, traders? Welcome back to the channel with Generation Pips, your go-to for Forex market analysis and trading education. So first thing we're going to look at is going to be gold on the weekly time frame. We can see that gold, since it broke out of this level of resistance, it has literally been forming higher highs and higher lows. It ranged out here before pushing back up to the upside, right? So of course the market structure is bullish to the upside. But does that mean that we have to continue keep trading with that overall trend? Well, some of you guys on the short-term time frames, you guys can probably get into a shorting opportunity going into this week. And I'm going to show you guys kind of what that looks like. So daily time frame, we can see that price is bullish at the moment, pushing to the upside. With its last most recent high, which is area value, will be here. And of course, we're potentially forming some type of high in here. Let's bring this out and just identify this range that we're potentially in, and then drop this down to the 4-hour time frame. On a 4-hour time frame, we can see that price is bullish, identified with that trend line, but we also can see that price is stalling out in this area. So we've got one top, two top, we have a neckline here, potentially forming a double top formation in this area. So if you guys want to counter trend potentially going into this week, I think that this is a great opportunity to counter trend back to this daily area value. Of course, for me, I'll be waiting for that daily because I'm an overall swing trader, so I want to go with the overall trend of the market. But those of you guys who trade on the smaller time frames, this might be a great opportunity to take a short position going into this week looking at gold. The next market we're going to look at is going to be AU. So on AU on the weekly time frame, we have this weekly area of resistance used as support, use of resistance in here, right? And we have not made it back to that area since we made that, resistance area up there. We are pushing to the upside, but we have seen a big bearish engulfing following NFP release last week. All right, so what we're going to do is drop down to the daily time frame. And on the daily time frame, I can see that we're reversing back to this daily level of resistance. Resistance where it shot down, resistance where it shot down. We pushed up, and now we're retesting this area. So I think that this is a great opportunity to potentially get into some longs going into this week, potentially tapping this daily high or this weekly that we just identified on the weekly time frame. So you bring that down to the 4-hour. On the 4-hour, we can pretty much see that price is at that area now. So what I'm going to look for is a nice shift of structure and then go back to the upside going into this week. And that's going to be AU. All right, here we have GU on a weekly time frame. Similar to AU, the only difference is we did form this bearish engulfing or evening star at that weekly area of resistance, potentially used as support, right? So this market is a little bit different. We do see that the price on the weekly, on the most recent weekly swing to the upside, is bullish, right? But we did tap into that weekly area with a nice reversal candle. However, dropping it down to the daily time frame, we do see that we have this support area in here where we have one rejection, two rejections, identifying this as support. So what I'm going to look at this week to see if price will make its way back down here before potentially retesting that weekly area of resistance. The opposite could happen as well. Price may break through, and if so, I'll wait for price to pull back and then go back down to this most recent area of resistance will be used as support on the daily time frame. So that's what I'm looking at on GU. Go down to the 4-hour time frame. We can see that this is my area of interest. Then I'll be waiting for some type of play. Maybe price pushes back up going into this week and then eventually makes its way back down before changing the structure and going bullish. But that's going to be my overall outlook for GU going into this week. Let's shift gears a little bit and look at a pair that has the yen attached to the dollar here. So on the weekly time frame, we can see that price was once in a bullish manner, right? It formed these highs and then it just rejected and shot back down to the downside. This resistance area we can have identified where price shot down, all right? So we broke this trend line, broke down, and now we came back and retested this area. What are we looking for? Well, of course, we should be looking for some type of shift of structure to go back to the downside, which is highly likely in this scenario. So breaking this down to the daily time frame, we can see that the daily had its level of support here, as well as that rejection right here with that morning star, and price is pushing back up into this weekly zone. So on the 4-hour time frame, what I'll be looking at this week is a nice shift of structure in some manner or capacity to go into a short position. So maybe price pushes back up a little bit longer, potentially taps that weekly trend line, who knows, but then a nice breakdown and retest of that weekly area to go back down to the daily. And that's kind of my outlook that I have for UJ going into this week. All right, so here we have Euro USD on the weekly time frame. Don't worry, I'll break this down so it looks a little bit clearer, but we had a range where price respected for resistance, support, resistance, resistance, and then we formed some type of range at that resistance on the weekly, and we failed to break higher. All right, so breaking this down to the daily time frame, we actually can see that price almost formed somewhat of a double top here on the daily, right, with a neckline down here at the bottom. So what I'm looking at going into this week is for the 4-hour to come back into this area, as we see now this big move that happened because of NFP. I'm waiting to see if price can make its way back into this area, and as always, wait for price to shift and then go into a short position to the downside. So that's going to be Euro USD going into this week. This play may happen this week. It may take a little bit longer, but this is going to be Euro USD. All right, guys, if you made it this far, this is the last pair of our weekly analysis. It's going to be USD CHF. On a daily time frame, we can see that price came into the support area down here, and then afterwards it came in and started to range. All right, so we ranged out and we had a strong breakout of that range. Break this down to the 4-hour time frame. All we're going to wait for is a pullback into this area. So it doesn't have to happen immediately. I hope it takes its time, builds its way up, and then we get a shift of structure and go back to the upside. That's going to be USD CHF going into this week. Thank you guys for joining us for this week's analysis video. Like, comment, share. Let us know in the comment section what you guys would like to see more of from this channel. It really helps out the channel. As always, happy trading.